Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Janine and I would like to introduce you to the fountain pen and show you the 5 most important hacks that will help you to use it like a pro. I love watercolor and a fountain pen is a beautiful way to complement any artwork. I especially love to use it to complete any cards I crafted. This video was inspired by a friend who seemed to be rather confused by fountain pen, and in fact most of my friends never used one before. I will show you how to operate it, take care of it, and reactivate the ink when it dried up. This can save you a lot of money. Let me start with a funny story while I unpack. All through university I used one beloved pen to write all my exams and most handwritten notes. Well, years later, a friend explained to me why I would sometimes get weird looks from fellow students and professors. I used a fountain pen, and apparently this is something unusual in Canada. I grew up in Europe and I had no idea. What pen you choose to write with is a personal choice. From my own experience, I can say that most people I know here in Canada do not really pay too much attention to their choice of pen and use whatever ballpoint pen is closest. It will definitely get the job done, but it makes the experience of reading a handwritten note so much more pleasant when the note is written neatly with some attention to detail. Even a simple note on a birthday card is so much more meaningful when you take the time to write it nicely. Taking that extra time goes a long way and shows the other person that you care and value them. I personally prefer to write with a fountain pen that has a wider tip, as I think it makes my handwriting look prettier. My choice of fountain pen did not help my friend who picked up a random pen from my desk to write something down. My friend got interested in the pen as he couldn't get it to write without instructions. This got us talking. During the conversation, I discovered that what I consider a normal writing instrument is automatically considered the art of calligraphy by many and treated as a type of status symbol. In my opinion, calligraphy and hand lettering are beautiful art forms which I've never been into. Using a fountain pen does not automatically equal calligraphy. I simply have a fountain pen and want to write a note or letters with a decent handwriting. To use a fountain pen, you need to know the basics. This is why I'm making this video. It will give you the rundown on how to use a fountain pen like a pro. Let's get to the 5 most important pieces of knowledge when it comes to using fountain pens. The good news is that you do not need any special paper to work with a fountain pen. A normal printer paper quality is just perfect. The pen writes just like a ballpoint pen, but as you do not need to press, there should not be an imprint on the paper. You can, of course, use thicker paper or higher quality paper. Certain papers absorb more ink than others. If you feel that this is the case, try to write slower, allowing more ink to be released as you write. This sounds like the most basic and obvious question, but trust me, almost all of my friends who were allowed to test the pen got it wrong at first. Basically, you hold the fountain pen just like any other pen. If you use a fountain pen that has a wider tip or looks like this, the flat metal goes up. There are different types of pens that are operated with ink. Let me show you one that has a ball tip. You should never press a fountain pen too hard on the paper. This can cause the pen to bend, leak, or break. I am, in general, holding my writing instruments with a lighter grip. I believe that this has to do with how I learned how to write using a fountain pen. If normal pens or pencils are sometimes bothering you, a fountain pen might be right for you. For example, if you're someone who grabs their pen so hard that it hurts your fingers, or if you're having pain in your fingers from writing just a little more than usual. Or if you're someone who pushes the pen so hard against the paper that it hurts your hand or wrist. Or if your lines leave indentations on the paper and transfer onto 3 underlying pages. Or if you're someone who easily gets cramps in your hands and fingers from writing a lot. Then you should try a fountain pen. This might be your solution. If you press too hard, it won't write, or it might fight back and leak. In elementary school, we all had to buy the same fountain pen. I recently rediscovered mine on my recent travels, alongside with many other art supplies. I did not use this particular pen since I had the freedom to pick my own pen after elementary school. I find the piece where you hold the pen to be rather hard, and it hurts my fingers after a while. If possible, you should try holding your pen before purchasing it, and if it hurts to write, it might be your pen's fault. Usually, you place an ink cartridge inside. My fountain pens have space for a spare one as well. Most cartridges have a standardized size, but not all of them. My elementary school fountain pen, for example, has larger cartridges. Pro tip: you can transfer ink into your empty cartridge if you do not have the correct size available. Try not to make a mess. You can also buy disposable fountain pens which do not allow you to refill the ink, which is honestly just a giant waste of resources and creates unnecessary garbage. You can buy fountain pens as well without replaceable cartridges. With these, you can soak or pump the ink directly into a small tank in the pen. I used one of these recently at a friend's house and I did not have an ink pot. So what I did was I just soaked the ink out of one of those little cartridges. These fountain pens are more environmental friendly as the little cartridges I insert are made out of plastic as well. The ink pots can be made out of plastic or glass. Cleaning these types of pens when the ink dried up can be hard, so make sure to rinse the ink out of them when you know you will not be using them for a while. When I traveled, I also found this gem I used for art classes in high school. You can attach a tip and you need to dip it into a small bottle of ink. Fountain pens do not just randomly leak, as I have never encountered this happen before. The most likely reason for leaking is that you push too hard while you write. It happened to me before that the cap of a fountain pen was not properly on and came off while it was in my pencil case. In this case, a little bit of ink stained the inside of my pencil case. Usually you can just wash the ink out and it's water dissolvable, so shouldn't be a big problem, but it can sometimes stain the fabric. What do you do when your ink dried out in the cartridge and your pen simply will not write? Well, here's an easy fix. Open the pen and rinse it under lukewarm water until the water comes out 100% clean. Make sure to always clean the sink after, as the ink might stain the surface. I never planned to not use a pen for a while, so I never cleaned it before stopping to use it. The ink will take some time to dry up. From experience, I can say that it should take at least a month to dry out. After cleaning the pen to store it, you can check if it's clean by dabbing it on a paper towel. Leave it out to dry before adding the cap and storing it away. If you allow water to be trapped in there, it can react with the metal tip. When you plan on using the pen again immediately, you do not need to check if it is 100% clean. I always gently blow with my mouth some air into the pen to remove the water, like with a whistle. I do not want to write with a watered down ink. It makes for an unpredictable translucency of the ink, and I cannot control how much water is mixed into the ink. If you want to start writing again immediately, simply assemble the pen and dip the tip into the ink to accelerate how fast the pen is saturated with ink. You can gently squeeze the cartridge to let the pen soak up even more ink. A bonus tip: you can reactivate dried up ink cartridges. Ink is usually water dissolvable. Just add a few drops and shake it. This trick can save you a lot of money, especially when you use more expensive types of ink. Many people are under the impression that you cannot remove or correct the writing when you used ink. This is false. You can buy ink erasers. They have a translucent liquid on one side which erases the ink, and you can write on top of the erased areas with the other side of the eraser, which has a blue liquid in it. The eraser liquid might leave a yellow tint on the paper, and the blue value might be different from the ink that you are writing with. So it's not completely disguised. In my experience, these erasers are not widely available in Canada, but they do exist. I prefer them, for example, over Tipp-Ex. But I'm also not ashamed of my mistakes, and I typically just cross them out. I hope you found this video useful. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fun videos.